Hey guys, King of Charms here, to be your judge, your jury, and your analyst, and today I bring to you my best anti-meta team for the Kanto Cup. This team features Amok lead, and then you kind of have a dual safe switch depending on what scenario you're facing. You have Hypno as well as Poliwrath in the back. I really like Poliwrath because of its coverage. Dynamic Punch and Scald is a fantastic combination. And you can also get the debuff with Scald, which is also some extra fanciness. And because freaking Poliwrath has a decent amount of attack, it can win CMP against a lot of things. So that's why I like Poliwrath a lot. So you're gonna see me I like this. A lot of Psychic leads are out there, as well as Nidoqueens. I will show you how to play out of Nidoqueen, which is probably going to be your worst nightmare in the lead. Other than that, there's a team rolling around a lot. I forgot which one it was. Mew, freaking Machamp, and something else, and this team essentially counters the unholy crap out of that team. So, because what's going to happen is that your opponent either going to use Lapras or Hypno Safe Swap, and then you have two mons that can deal with it. You have Amok to deal with the Hypno, and then you have your own Hypno to deal with the fighter, and then you have, or you can have, and then you have Poliwrath to deal with Lapras or Dugong, whichever ice or steel type they have, which sometimes you'll see people swap into Alolan Sandslash in the back, and I really don't know why people are using it as safe. That's a terrible safe switch. If they have the Machamp in the back, you are essentially dead. Yeah, you're basically dead. But before we get started, I have to give you my therapist mental health of the day as usual. If you want to skip this, I have to say this now because I have some people complaining about it, even though I don't know why you'd want to complain about it, because you know what, mental health is actually very expensive, or a pain in the booty to deal with, because guess what? Only 1% of the world can actually well, actually, there's probably, it's less than that, but I just use 1% to round it, because it takes a lot to get into this dang career field. Yeah, it takes a lot. But you do stay. Today's tip is called the cognitive triangle. So a good basis or a really popular mode of therapy nowadays is called cognitive behavioral therapy. It's called an evidence-based practice. Evidence-based practices or modalities are studies done with said practice, and then they become certified as evidence-based. So they've done research and it says it works. That's basically what it is. So with evidence-based practices, it's backed by science since the study works, and CBT is a very popular one because of its blueprint. Cognitive behavioral therapy is very, very good. I use it sometimes. It's not my main modality, but I know a lot of my friends, and there are CBT certified therapists out there, which I do seek to become one of these days. I do seek to become certified. That takes additional education, and then you have to practice with it, but you know, I'm fine with that. Since it's a foundation, it's very popular, and it works very well. So it's my own personal therapy. CBT has been used a lot with me to pretty much go through everything. It can apply to any situation, especially when it comes to go battling, when you want to maul and just throw your phone halfway across the room and do a lot of things. So this is called the cognitive triangle. This is a worksheet that's provided, and you can go and take a look at this. But the cognitive triangle is a great way to illustrate how CBT works. So this forms the basis of cognitive behavioral therapy, and it introduces the model again. It's a simple diagram, really simple to where you can understand it. It's like foolproof. Like even one of my clients, they're adolescents, they're 12 and they can understand this. So it's not that complicated, hopefully. But you have this thing where situation, thoughts, behaviors, and then your emotions. So your situation is what happens to your life, and then it goes into this cycle of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. So then after you have it, so for the CBT, you go for this ABCD model. So you have a situation, and then you have your emotions, and then your thoughts of what you feel. So emotions are your feelings, like you feel happy, sad, or you're worried, or something of that sort. And then your thoughts are interpretation situation. For example, I lost a battle because, I lagged in Go Battle, or here's a popular one. I lost a battle in Go Battle League. So your emotions are you're either sad or you're pissed off that you lost. Your thoughts are, maybe I'm not that good, or maybe, wow, I really suck at this game. Those are your thoughts. And then your behaviors are your response. So you say or do something. So a healthy way to do it would be this example. For example, okay, I lost in Go Battle League, you feel kind of sucky, or no, you feel calm, you're like, okay, what happened? And then your thoughts are, how did I lose, and what can I have done to do better? And then your behaviors to do that situation is that you still play. Your behaviors are, okay, so you're like, you choose not to do something, or you essentially adapt to that battle. So you just don't do the same situation you did before, and you adapt. which is basically like a fight. In fighting and combat sports, we do this all the time. You lose, you analyze, and then you adapt, you behave. That's the healthy way to do it. An unhealthy way to do it. Okay, you battle, you're pissed off, and then your behaviors are you throw your phone across the board, and your thoughts are this guy sucks, or like not like it's okay to say like this guy sucks, or there's no way I could have lost that, or screw rock paper scissors, which is very valid. But yes, hopefully you take this. It's you could apply it to any situation. Again, CBT is a great model. Without further ado, this is my best anti-meta team for the Kanto Cup, and let's get started. Alright, here are the battles. For the first one, we got Legend on Legend action, and we got Muck into Raticate. This is probably where you're going to encounter a little bit of issues, because you're going to have to decide one of two things. One, sack Amok in the lead, or be a little fancy. Typically, what I like doing here is I like sacking Amok in the lead. You can eat one Hyper Fang, but you have to be careful, because if they start going a little bit over, like if they start hitting you with quick attacks a lot, be careful, because they can have Hyper Beam, and Hyper Beam can one-shot a Muck. I know, because I got hit by one before, but we don't talk about that. I'm the one that's usually beaming, but I will get beamed once in a while, you know what I mean? It happens. The joy of Go Battle League. You never know what you're gonna get. Our opponent managed to crunch here, and then they swap into Blastoise, which is perfectly fine. If your opponent swaps into Blastoise, you can choose to fire the Acid Spray like I did here. We matched Grab a Shield, which is great. Then I'm going to send in Hypno. A debuffed Blastoise -2 with Thunder Punch is going to give you a lot of play. So, as you see here, you can also eat one Hydro Pump. Hydro Cannon. I don't want to eat one Hydro Cannon, though. I'm going to double up on Thunder Punch here, and then I'm going to fire. Because they're going to be able to get to another Hydro Cannon, and now we have enough for another Thunder Punch. We still have to contend with Alolan Raticate, so that's why I want 2 Thunder Punches here. They throw an Alolan Raticate, we're going to throw the Thunder Punch. So, as you see here, I go over one, and then I'm going to fire Thunder Punch. That Raticate already threw a Crunch before, so I know it's Energy Dry. And then we should be able to just Confusion down here, because like I mentioned, it's Energy Dry from before. Then we got something back, we still have a whole Poliwrath, and we happen to get a Dragonair. Which are Shadow Dragonair to be exact. We're gonna Hadouken and fire the Great Ball of the Fiery Jutsu Arrow thing. Yeah, Naruto-ish. And then we're gonna swap in a Poliwrath. And then one Dragon Pulse won't kill in this range because I'm still in the green. It still does a lot of damage, but I should be able to get to Dynamic Punch plus the same type of attack bonus. This should close out the match for us, and that's game. Again, Alolan Raticate's a little rough to play around, but usually I'll just force my way through it like I do with Alolan Muck. Straight Acid Spray, and that's GG's. And remember, be careful, because you can get beamed. Yeah, be very careful about getting beamed. Next up, we got Amok and Hypno. This is what I usually like this for. As you see, Amok is a fantastic lead, and then you can throw in either Hypno against the fighter in the back, or you can throw in Alolan Muck into one of their ice types. You can throw it into Lapras or with Dugong, which is usually the scenario here. You can comfortably live a Bulldoze here. I'm going to gather a little more energy. I should have went 2 more in, but I was okay with that. And I'm going to fire Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch should yeet this Sand Slash into the next dimension, like One Punch Man or Baki or freaking JoJo's Bizarre Presenter. Jotaro your way to victory, whichever one you call it. And then we get the Hypno. Hypno's going to come in. We're going to Scald and hopefully get the attack debuff here. Scald has a chance of -1 debuffing. We don't get the debuff, but that's fine. You don't want them to get extra farm, and then we're going to send in Muck. Typically, this is what happens. You see Hypno or Mew, and then they throw in the fighter, or you throw in the Ice type Safe Switch, and then you just switch accordingly. This is why I like Poliwrath a lot, because Poliwrath has a lot of play versus things like Shadow Champ, where essentially you're going to have to either Rock Slide, or if you have pay back your way to victory. We get a Pidgeot thrown into Amok, which is perfectly fine here. We're going to Acid Spray down, and then you could send in Hypno, and then I like doing the Hypno sending in because even they have 2 shields here. And this is great for us. They're going to fire a move. I'm banking that it's going to be a Feather Dance. It's not a shield anyways, so all this is going to do is have it Confusion doing regular damage now, which is perfectly fine. I should be able to farm down here. Now we have 2 Thunder Punches worth of energy. I'm going to fire the Thunder Punch first because I'm going to fire the Shadow Ball. Because of the new mechanics for Go Battle League, it doesn't matter when you fire because they're going to get 2 moves through. Regardless, whoever fires first has the disadvantage. We fire 2 Thunder Punches. My opponent calls a Shadow Ball, but this is perfectly fine. This Hypno is so hurt that all I really have to do to win in this scenario is just fast move down, which is one of your win conditions here. You fast move down, our freaking Amok can still comfortably live a Thunder Punch, and there's no way this Hypno is going to be able to get to 2 Thunder Punches here. One Poison Jab will go through, as you see here, and then we're going to fire another one. So 2 Thunder Punch, there's no way they have 2 Thunder Punches. 1 Poison Jab should go through, and that's game. Did he need to fire Acid Sprays here? I could have, but then you don't want them to get that extra confusion through. So if they did get that, they might have had enough energy for 2 Thunder Punches, and we don't want that to happen. You have Blastoise and Amok, and this is another rough lead for you. You still lose this pretty comfortably because of the fact Blastoise is so thick. So because Blastoise has so much defense, as you see here, you won't be able to outpace it to the Hydro Cannons. Unless you be a little fancy, fire Acid Sprays. I go straight for the Dark Pulse here. I should have fired the Acid Spray, or usually I'll fire the Acid Spray, and as you see, but they don't shield, which is great, because as you see, they send in Alolan Ninetales. That's usually your play here, get the Acid, to get the Dark Pulse through shields, and then you can comfortably farm down and keep alignment. But, as you see here, we get Alolan Ninetales, and I love it, because guess what? Fairies are weak to poison. All we're gonna do is... I hate Charmers so much. They send in Alolan Ninetales, as you see here, but because they're -2 because of that Acid Spray, this one Confusion could KO this Alolan Ninetales. And because damage doesn't transfer anymore whenever you switch out. So as you see here, we get a Wigglytuff, and all I have to do is farm down here. I save my shield. You want to save that shield because you don't want to get hit by a Play Rough, and 9 times 10, our opponent's probably going to shield here, which is great, because now all we have to do is fire Scald or Dynamic Punch, and that should be game. I'm firing Scald here, and they get the Sack Swap on me, or attempt to Sack. All I'm doing is going to Undercharge. I actually anticipated this, that's why I fired Scald. Because what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just overcharge. As you see here, I'm just going to charge. And then Poliwrath wins CMP against Wigglytuff. So even if Wigglytuff has Play Rough, they won't activate first. As you see here, all I have to do is farm down Blastoise, fire Scald, and then that should be game. So then that one charm that comes through, it doesn't really matter because of the fact that I can still live one more charm at this range. Scald goes through, we get the debuff, but again, it doesn't matter because all we have to do, where it's in kill range. That's all there is to it. And that's game. I hope you all enjoyed that battle. Again, undercharging can come out win conditions, and if you're aware of it, yeah. I mean, I was aware. You could have double Dynamic Punch too, but I'd rather go for the full farm down and just lock in that Wigglytuff into that win condition. As you see here, we go ahead and we win the lead, and we're going to fire Dynamic Punch on this poor Sandslash, and oh my god. So this is what happens with Nidoqueen leads. When it comes to Nidoqueen leads, there's 2 ways you could play out of it. One, it's right here where your opponent tries to catch a move, so you could throw in Poliwrath, and you could just essentially yeet their Lapras, or as you see here, their Alolan Sandslash with Dynamic Punches. Or you elect to switch out, so you could swap out into Poliwrath to try to do it as a safe switch, and then align Nidoqueen with Hypno. So one of 2 ways again. You can stay in, try to finesse your way out of the matchup, or 2, your opponent actually gives up switch, and then you just play out and win out switch. That's why I like Poliwrath though, because Poliwrath's charge move coverage gives it a lot of play. Scald and Dynamic Punch are fantastic anti-meta across the board, because Scald you get stab, you get the debuff, and Dynamic Punch, of course, you get stab as well, and it hits really, really hard. We get a Shadow Muck thrown into us here. All I'm going to do is Dark Pulse, and hopefully we get through shields, and we don't, which is okay, because as you see, we're in the 2-0s anyways. All I have to do is shield 1 move, and then I should still be able to Dark Pulse for the W. I'm low on battery, so make sure y'all charge your devices before you play PvP, but as you see here, I'm able to get to another Dark Pulse. Hypno has a shield, so because Hypno has a shield, I should be able to come out with a W, and we're pretty much we're just vibing right now. We have that Nidoqueen in the back, and our opponent just tops lefts because they know it's game. And last but not least, we got Legend on Legend action. Same thing, I wanted to show you 2 ways to play out Nidoqueen. The first one I showed you is when your opponent just outright swaps, and I have no idea why I lost a turn there, but you know what, it's okay. Go Battle League is completely fixed, right? Every single content creator is debating you, trying to tell you that Go Battle League is fixed when it really is not. It really isn't. There's a whole lot of things that are broken. I get a Dark Pulse through shields here, do a little bit of chip. This is the second way you could play it out. You could get chip damage on the Nidoqueen, and then you could swap out. So usually I'll swap into Poliwrath, like I mentioned before, do chip, stay in, or swap in a Poliwrath as a safe switch, and our opponent likes not to shield or grab. And I'm like, what the hell, bro? Really, dude? Dang. I don't know if that was a misswap on their part, because Poliwrath has a very comfortable matchup against a freaking Agrav, so I was like really confused. As you see, our opponent is trying to Poison Fang their way to victory here. I still have 2 healthy Mons. I still have a whole Hypno, and I still have Amok 2 as well. So it's just like, our opponent's in a really rough patch here. They elect to shield, and I was just like, why though? I'm guessing they want to save all this energy. I send in Hypno, and that one confusion that goes through will kill. And they have a Lapras, and that's game. We have 2-to-1 shields, and I still have a whole, like, a literally super healthy Mach and a super healthy Hypno. I'm guessing my opponents, as you see here, this is why I like Poliwrath in the back, because as you see, you could catch this Lapras. Even if my opponent swapped into their Lapras, I still would have had an advantage, and either way, even if this wasn't the Lapras, if the Graveler was in its place, it doesn't really matter because that'd be game. Because you'd still just end up in the same scenario here, especially with the fact that not Alolan Grammar, I mean, Lapras doesn't do super effective. Well, it can Skull Bash you with super effective damage against Poliwrath, but normally you could resist Surf. So all I have to do is swap in here. I don't even have to shield the next move. I can just Poison Jab down, and that's game. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles, and this is my best anti-meta team for the Kanto Cup. And that's game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I pretty much explained most of the situations you're gonna find in this. Yeah, most of the situations you're gonna encounter, as well as Nidoqueen being your biggest problem. But you have 2 answers to Nidoqueen, so that's the good part about it. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Again, hopefully you do. This team does very well for you. It's pretty solid. The good thing about Poliwrath is that Poliwrath, you don't need an Elite TM to get Scald, thankfully. Imagine that, alright? Well, you have to do it for Whirl, not Rat, so that's great. Also, I love my Poliwrath. My Poliwrath is a Fun fact about my Poliwrath, I actually got my Poliwrath from GoFest. So, actually, let me take a look. Where is it? I went to all 3 GoFests in 2019, the one Chicago, the one Japan, and the one in Dortmund, Germany. I had a whole lot of fun. I freaking loved it, and I think that's what really inspired me to go ahead and do content creation to begin with. And yeah, but I love it. Oh no, it's my Japanese one. So, it's a rank, you probably can't see it, but this is a rank 7 from Japan. So, I caught this during Yokohama GoFest, and it was a rank 7 from Japan. I love it so much. A rank 7, lucky number 7. My lucky number is 7. And it's shiny, and I love it. So it's a Japanese Poliwrath, and it does some work. Maybe I should call it like, Saitama or something like that. So it just like punches its way to victory. But again, hopefully y'all enjoyed the battles. I covered a lot of what you're encountering, and hopefully this team does really well for you. Do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe and comment for the YouTube algorithm. I really do appreciate y'all that do that. As always, I love y'all to death, and I really do appreciate all your support. I'm trying to push for 4K subs before the end of this year, which is probably going to happen. All I got to do is just keep on grinding. It's just like with y'all with Legend. Me, I personally don't care about Legend. I've done it a bazillion times, and I'm just trying to chill. But for all of you that are gunning for Legend, good luck for that. And hopefully you don't hit leaderboard, because if you hit leaderboard, you are stuck in a queue for 90 minutes, which I refuse to do so ever again. Never again. Without further ado, good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see y'all on the next video.